Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really delighted that you're here. I'm Laura Rattray, currently one of the conveners of the English Literature General Masters Programme, and I'm joined by my two brilliant colleagues. And I think my colleagues would agree with me that we're also joined by the two real experts of the day, two of our current MLitt cohort, Jamie and Celia. And I'll invite everyone to introduce themselves in just a moment. But we're all really happy to be here. And if you're here, that means that many of you have an offer from us. And we're really, really excited that you'll be joining us in September in Glasgow and look forward to welcoming you in person. Emma and I have been dealing with the applications and we've been really excited to read and to see the caliber, the quality of the writing samples and to read your personal statements. And it's very exciting for us. And I think we're in for a great year ahead. And just to say before everyone introduces themselves, we want this session to be useful to you. That's why we're here. The whole team has rocked up for this. We want it to be useful to you. So if you've got any questions, please ask them, because we want to be answering what you want to know, and you're the people who know what you want to know. So please put your questions, put your comments in the chat, and we promise we won't leave until we've answered your questions. And again, thank you for joining us. I'm Laura Rattray. I'm a reader in American literature, and I've really enjoyed convening the course for the last 2 years, and we're going to be talking about the exciting international diverse group that this programme attracts. And we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. Can I hand over to you, Emma?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. As Laura said, I would just like to echo what Laura said about us looking forward to meeting you when you arrive in Glasgow, hopefully, and that we've been enjoying reading your applications. So I'm Emma Lister. I work on contemporary fiction here at Glasgow, and I'm one of the course co-conveners, along with my colleague Malika.
Hi there. Thank you so much, Emma, and welcome everyone. I'm looking forward to meeting every single one of you. And my name is Malika Willie, and I am lecturer in Black, British, and African diasporic literature.
Celia, would you like to go next? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Celia. I've been at the University of Glasgow now this is my 5th year. I did my undergrad here and then went on to do my master's. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Celia. Thank you, Malika. And over to you, Jamie.
Hi, my name is Jamie. I am a postgraduate student at the University of Glasgow. I did my bachelor's at Sheffield. So I've only been at Glasgow for a year. So yeah.
Thank you so much. So anything you want to know about the city as well, we've got you covered, and the student experience, if you want to know about accommodation options, about experiences on the course, please get those questions going. So as I was saying, if you've joined us, you may have an offer already, or you may be in the process of making an application, or I know some invites went out to those who have recently expressed an interest in the programme and you're thinking of joining us. And whichever category you fall in and any others, we're delighted to be here. While we're hopefully going to get some questions in the chat, I wanted to start off really by talking a little bit about the programme. And I think the general programme is the programme with the greatest flexibility. This is the programme with the fewest core courses, by which we mean courses that you have to take. In other pathways, there is more than one core course. With us, there's a single core course, the research training course, which we'll talk about. But the rest of the programme, you kind of design it yourself and you tell us what you'd like to do and the range of options and the very wide range of options available. And we are slightly biased, but we think that's one of the reasons we get such intellectually terrific and challenged and interested and engaged students on our programme. We think it attracts those. And we hope that very much applies to you. And that's great. I see the questions coming in coming in already. Should we start off by talking about the range of those programs? And perhaps I could invite Celia and Jamie. Would you like to talk about your experience in terms of options and perhaps say a little bit about the research training course? Got a bit of an echo.
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. Hold on, I had a...
Yeah, over to you, Jamie. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, so there's a really broad range of options at Glasgow. Personally, I really enjoyed taking Dr. Megan Coyer's Embodiments, which gives students the opportunity to study the medical humanities, which I'd never had I think that's quite niche. Which broadly speaking sort of explores literary representations of health and illness, as well as medical texts of the 19th century. And as part of the course, we went to Glasgow's Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons to handle some manuscripts and periodicals, which was really interesting. And I would recommend English Literature at Glasgow to anyone who wants a master's that offers the opportunity to have a material relationship with texts as well, because it seems there's a lot of kind of specialty in that regard within the department, and an emphasis on the opportunities to sort of like have a material relationship with the text. So
thank you, Jamie, and I can promise we have not paid Jamie to say that, and there's a great course from our colleague Megan there. Thank you, Jamie. Celia, is there anything you'd like to add about your experience, about the range of courses, how you found things?
Yeah, so I actually did, for first semester, I did a course from comparative literature as well. So I found that, at least in Glasgow, it's quite flexible in your choices. You can do up to 20 credits, you need to fact check this, up to 20 credits outside of your school or discipline. But you have to contact the course convener, the head of school, to make sure that this is like okay. But yeah, I found that really nice. It gives you a different perspective from like the strictly English literature perspective. I've also taken a course from a wide range. I did a course called The Mind of the Contemporary American Novel, which was really interesting. That combines neuroscience with postmodern literature and contemporary literature, looking at how this is reflected in style and form. So yeah, overall, like such a diverse range of courses that you're able to take.
Thank you so much, Celia. And just to remind people, you'll do 180 credits with us. So only 20 of that is a core course. That's a research training course, which we're going to talk about. And then you've got, my maths here, you'll do another 40 credits in the semester one of options, 60 credits of options in the second semester. And then over the summer, you'll write the dissertation, which is 60 credits, a third of your course. And again, we're usually blown away by the quality of work that we see there. And we're at that stage in the year now where students are just deciding what they want to write on for their dissertation. And we're in the process of assigning supervisors for that. Emma, did you want to talk a little bit more about that? And then I'm hoping Malika can talk about the brand new course that she's bringing on board.
Yeah, it was just to add there to what Celia was saying, because I think that really speaks to one of the questions that we had received in advance from our offer holders, which was about whether you can do additional courses outside of the school. So as Celia said, yeah, you can do up to 20 credits outside of the school as long as you have the permission. So there is the opportunity to do that, as well as sort of kind of tasting the courses, the real wide range of courses we have within our school, and the different sort of interdisciplinary looking or facing courses that we offer as well. One of the other questions that had come in prior to this online stream was about when the courses for next academic year will be finalised. Now, usually this is much nearer to the start of the teaching semester, Laura, isn't it? Do we have a final date for that yet?
It'll be done over the summer, won't it? They're just finalising the course details now. We can't promise you that every course will be available every year, but we can promise you there'll be a really wide, diverse range of courses. And as Celia and Jamie were suggesting there's also the opportunity to go outside of the school as well for 20 credits, which many students take advantage of. Over to you, Emma.
Yes, so just then to take up the point about the dissertation, Laura and Malika and I are in process at the moment of reading through all the dissertation proposals from the general students from this year, Jamie and Celia's included. So we're really enjoying reading those and having a think about which supervisors would really work well with those specific projects. So that's what we do. We matchmake, if you like, our students with appropriate supervisors who have the relevant research expertise. And then really you work with your supervisor over the summer on your summer project, and the students will tend to find that that's the really rewarding part of the programme and the course as well. As part of that, there's a symposium where students all get together to present their initial ideas on their topic to each other and get peer feedback. And that's always a great day out. And I usually mention the lunch at that as well because it's lovely. So that's something that we're looking forward to at the moment. Yeah, anything you would add, Malika?
I'm thinking about the different courses that we provide. And recently I submitted a couple of courses to be assessed. And one of them is focused on the Caribbean psyche. And I'm supposed to explore the degree to which slavery and colonialism has sort of affected how Caribbean people perceive the world. And so we're going to explore thinkers like Fanon, Césaire, Wilson Harris, and talk about neocolonialism, speak about anti-colonialism, decolonialism, and all of these ideas in order for us to have a wonderful conversation about slavery and its impact. I've also submitted a new course for level 4, which is an undergraduate course, but it's possible for postgrad students to dip down and sort of do these courses as well. And this specific course is called Slavery, Creolite, and Caribbean Cultures. And it explores music, Caribbean music, film, food, Rastafarianism, zombies, calypso music, soca, and so on and so forth. And what I want to do in this course is essentially give a broad understanding of how slavery has impacted the Caribbean to create its culture, and give the students a broader understanding of cultures that are different from their own. And I think also next semester, I'm supposed to teach post-colonialisms and post-colonial theory. So if anybody is interested in this, please register for this course. It's going to be amazing.
It sure is. So we're really excited about these new courses that Malika's bringing on board. And I think it's indicative of the programme that it doesn't stay static. You know, we are renewing programmes and renewing offerings, and we're really excited about the range of courses on offer. And Malika made a really important point there as well about dipping down. You've also got the opportunity, as well as a really diverse range of postgraduate courses. You can also look to our final level undergraduate courses, and if there's space and if you're interested, there's an opportunity to take one of those as one of your options as well. So we do everything we can to give a broad choice range and allow people to indulge their own interests. And I can see Celia and Jamie wishing those courses were on board already, Malika, and that they could have done them this year. But they will be there and ready to go in September. Okay, shall we look at some of the questions that are coming on board here? Emma, Evermore Reads is saying, so excited to also do a dissertation on the Caribbean psyche. As coming in, Malika. Big up the Calypso, very excited. So are we. Thank you very much for that, Evermore Reads. We've got a question asking us, can you tell us about Glasgow University providing scholarships to international students? And I'm hoping our moderators in the chat can help with putting up some links there. Look at that. Amazing. Thank you, colleagues. If you follow that link, you'll see some of the opportunities there. And we're very aware, of course, of the realities and that funding can be very difficult in many cases. I'm getting some background noise. I don't know if my other colleagues are. I don't know if we can do anything about that. Well, perhaps we could look now at the experience, because we know, and please put in the chat where you're coming from if you join us. I said at the opening that we have a really lively international group of students, which is really fun for us as well, and a very sociable group. And we find that people, are here wanting to take part in things, wanting to start groups, join groups, and so on. And I think that adds to the liveliness of the experience. Celia and Jamie, would you be willing to talk a little bit about, your student experience and experiences of Glasgow, how you found things? Jamie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, certainly, definitely. So as part of your, as part of the core module, as part of the research module, one of the actual assessments, one of the formative assessments is to record sort of like 4 logs of to evidence that you've been involved in kind of like academic or otherwise scholarly events outside of your scheduled seminars and scheduled lectures. So there's lots of seminar series that are really well telegraphed in your university inbox. You'll get lots of stuff to inform you of all the sort of fun stuff happening on campus. A lot of it is stuff by other postgraduate researchers, usually PhD students who are doing in their kind of like 3rd years, who will give presentations on the research they're doing, or presentations or seminars done by researchers at the university, lecturers and professors who will give talks on the sort of stuff that they're doing, like their own personal research. There's of all sorts, of all different periods. Like I've gone to ones held by, and you're not, just because you're doing the general MLitt, you won't be confined to just going to talks put on by, advertised to you by the general MLitt. You can go to the modernist ones. I've gone to the modernist talks. I went to one on Blake a couple of weeks ago. And that was I can't remember specifically the researcher. I'm not sure if anyone else can remember the researcher who did that talk, but she was from an external university. She was from a European one. So lots of different, like Laura said, lots of different sort of like voices and research sort of occurring, and that you get the opportunity to get involved with. Glasgow as a city as well is arguably probably like one of the best in terms of cinema. So and a lot of the time, I know that this is a literature course, but it's like I can't recommend enough getting kind of like stuck into stuff like the Glasgow Film Festival. And you must take the opportunity, if you do decide to come here, to go watch something at Glasgow Film Theatre. That is also a fantastic opportunity that Glasgow offers.
Hear, hear. Thank you, Jamie. Celia, would you like to add anything from your experience there?
Yeah. So I just find Glasgow to be a really exciting city. Like, aside from the academics, which is really fun, the city itself is full of culture, like art. There's always something on. Also, to all my international students, I don't know, like museums are free mostly, so like access to culture and stuff is accessible. And also, just Glasgow as a city has a nice nightlife if you're into that, but also like loads of green spaces, which I find is so refreshing. Because Glasgow is a big city, it can be overwhelming, but you know, you have Kelvin Grove Park or like Glasgow Green. And even like Loch Lomond, a big national park, is like half an hour away by train. Like, so if you like hiking, the outdoors, like Glasgow is a great place. If you like culture, like, and the people are so welcoming here. So it's a really nice culture in the city.
Thank you, Celia. And Malika, you've just, well, fairly recently arrived in Glasgow. Did you want to say something about how you found the city?
Yeah, so I just recently started at the University of Glasgow. So I've been here for maybe 3.5 months. And I absolutely love the people. Like, I find they're so sweet and kind and thoughtful, and they'll just walk up to me and have conversations, ask me how my day's going, and just have interesting conversation. My favorite conversation was about 2 weeks ago, where this guy was telling me how mad he was about the Windrush generation and what was happening. I was like, oh, good, that's nice. And so it's a wonderful city, and I am engaging physically. I've joined the tandem club, and so many interesting things around the city to do. I've also joined the boxing club. I don't know if that's, but yeah, it's a fantastic place. Lots of options. If you don't want to go to the cinema, you could go outdoors, walk along the canal. You could go hiking in Bearsden or wherever. It's just wonderful, fantastic. Everybody is nice, and you feel welcome. You feel at home because the people aren't snobby, obnoxious, and rude.
We'll take that, definitely. Thank you so much, Malika. And I can see from the chat that we've got a really international group joining us today, which sort of makes our point. And welcome. It's so lovely to see you. Julia from Brazil, Majib from Pakistan, Evermore Reads from Trinidad and Tobago. So yeah, quite journeys to make. And Evermore Reads, Malika says, where is it? Can't wait to study post-colonial theory with Malika. No pressure, Malika.
There you
go. Oh, good. And just to pick up on a point that Jamie was making about, you know, how active things around courses will prove to be, and that's been built into the research training course. This one core course that we've spoken of, where we've changed the assessment for that, and part of that assessment is producing a portfolio of entries, commenting on, evaluating, assessing some of these external or internal speaker events or symposia or conference papers, panels. And as we're saying, there's something going on every day in this place, usually more than one thing. Isn't that right, colleagues?
Yes.
I've got people, I think, gravitate towards their area of interests, but also I think with our group, there are a lot of interest there, and they enjoy dipping in and out of various diverse activities. I've got a group called the Transatlantic Literary Women, and we do a lot of events. We've got book clubs, we've got online talks. We team up with organisations in the city and beyond, like Glasgow Women's Library, like the People's Palace. We've been to the National Library of Scotland in Edinburgh. We've done film events in association with the city and the contemporary creative arts activities. So that it's there's an awful lot going on, and I think people, exactly as Malika says, are welcoming, and they want you to be involved, and they want you to be part of it. And there are great opportunities if you're looking for that. And then I think a bonus, you can get to write about it as one of your assessments. So it serves that purpose as well. We've got a question from Evermore Reads. Would there be the opportunity to be a TA for undergrads? I have to say that's something that's for PhD students. So in my experience, Emma, Malika, correct me if I'm wrong, not open officially for master's students, though I should say many of our master's students stay on with us and become PhD students, and then yes, they do become, they do work and teach on the pre-honours programme with English literature. So I hope that answers that question, Evermore Reads, in terms of that. And we've got a great question here about what does the university offer in terms of student support? As an overseas student, it is important to know about it. Wholeheartedly agree with that. Perhaps Celia and Jamie, would you like to speak to that? And then I know Emma and Malika, you were going to speak about student support services more generally. Celia, is there anything you'd like to speak to there?
Not really. I just I can offer some pointers in terms of accommodation and stuff.
Great.
I know the accommodation service at the university is quite good. They've been quite responsive and helpful. Also, if you're looking to rent privately, the Student Representative Council is really good. In terms of just like anything in specific regarding renters' rights, and they also can help you with like legal stuff if stuff goes wrong. They have very well-educated people to help you and support you in that way. And in terms of just being an international student, I found that the university is really welcoming. It is, as we've discussed, like very international, diverse. The people here are so nice. And there's loads of like groups you can join. Like there's a Nordic society, there's a Hispanic society, there's like places to meet and make friends as well. So yeah.
Thank you. Jamie, would you like to speak to any sort of support services that you've called on, or anything you think that our audience should know today?
I've not personally had massive amounts of contact with student support services. And I won't have encountered, I'm sure, some potential problems or as such that overseas students might encounter. But there's appropriate support for academic study for those that might need it. And these contacts at the beginning of the year are really clearly signposted. So you'll be invited to an assembly type thing where the services will come and give presentations on the sort of support available, be it sort of financial, emotional, academic, essay writing. There's plenty of sort of workshops and services that can be contacted to kind of help with that side of being a student.
Thank you so much, Jamie and Celia. Emma and Malika, did you want to talk more generally about student support that's available? Emma, do you want to go first?
Yes, sure. If I can just come in and add a little bit there about the Student Learning Development Team. The link for that was just shown on your screens. Now, the Student Learning Development Team, they're a student-facing team that will help all of our students, including international students, and they have specific sessions geared at international students with their learning, studying and writing while in Glasgow. So there are a number of sessions that they run. They give writing advice for students who might not be writing in their first language, for example. They can give support on planning your work. There are workshops, there are a series of seminars and workshops that run over the semesters, over both semesters, and you can also organise one-to-ones with a learning support advisor who can help you with your own writing. So in terms of your work, your study experience, you have the support there as well. I would just like to mention another support service before I hand over to Malika that might be helpful for some of you, and that's the Counselling and Psychological Service, or CAPS, at Glasgow. Again, a student-facing service that aims to support students who might be having, for example, mental health difficulties, who might be dealing with anxiety, even from being away from home, for example, who might need some extra pastoral support, or students who might suffer bereavements and such like while they're away. So again, the CAPS service, you can sign up for one-to-one sessions, or they run workshops over both semesters, things like managing your workload, handling anxiety, dealing with depression, those sort of things. So, you know, as Jamie's already said, you'll have these services introduced to you at the start, but I think it's good to know before you arrive in Glasgow that there will be services there to help you if you need it. Okay, Malika, you were going to mention another couple of services.
So to continue on with what Emma was saying about services and support, we have support for disabled students particularly. So if you have any kind of disability, don't feel that your needs will not be met. The university will make adjustments for you in whatever way possible. So you can apply, or rather complete the study support request form prior to coming to Glasgow, so that the university is made aware that you have a disability, and so that they can provide you with whatever support you need. So don't think that because you have a disability, it's not possible for you to come to university and study and be productive and do amazing things. It is totally, absolutely possible. The University of Glasgow also has an EDI unit, and so they're very much concerned with ideas of equality, diversity, and inclusivity. And they've worked to sort of create policies around dignity at work, respect, and things like that, to enable you to have a comfortable and safe space when you go to university, when you're at the university. And it allows you also to report any sort of things that make you uncomfortable. So don't be afraid to speak. We are open and ready to accept all types of people from every and anywhere. There's support for mental illness, as Emma said. There's for LGBTQ+, for visually disabled, for all sorts of people. So come and you will be amazed.
Yes, thank you, Malika. Loving it. There's a lovely comment in the chat saying, this looks like family and friendly conversation. Thank you so much for that. That's particularly sweet. We sometimes feel we spend more time with colleagues and students than our own family. So we really appreciate that comment. That's very, very kind. And I would just like to stress that all of these support units exist for you. They're there. That's their raison d'etre. So please, exactly as Malika says, don't be concerned about getting in touch. Do reach out if at any point in your journey you find that you need support in any way. And I would also mention the careers service, which I think sometimes goes unnoticed by students until very near the end. We've got a very vibrant and very active careers service. They're just getting ready to advertise a whole ton of paid internships, for example, over the summer, and they're there to help you. They can set up one-to-one appointments. They also orchestrate career fairs. So there's a lot of help in that regard as well. And again, please make full use of everything that's on offer there. We've spoken a little bit about the library, archival services. We've got an amazing library here, and our librarian colleagues and our colleagues in the archives are wonderful. And as part of the research training course, there are opportunities to go into the archives at Glasgow, and also some of the courses, as Jamie was referencing with Megan's course, there are various field trips where you'll be handling wonderful, exciting manuscripts and so on. And sometimes that can lead directly onto a dissertation topic. And as Emma was saying, the quality of work that we're seeing in terms of the dissertation, I think, becomes more exciting each year. No pressure, Jamie, no pressure, Celia, but very exciting for us all. For example, the research training course has quite a practical bent as well, in terms of there'll be some of the essential stuff like plagiarism, but there'll be also stuff like giving your first presentation, conferences, how to become aware of conferences, how to present there. There'll be introductions to various crucial members of the library team, and we have a wonderful college librarian, and we have great archivist colleagues, as I mentioned. So that will facilitate introductions for you to follow up on as well. I feel, guys, we should say a little bit more about the dissertation. Jamie and Celia, you are just about embarking on this. Emma's bigged up the buffet, the lunch.
Of course.
You can see some of our priorities here, folks. No, I'm absolutely with Emma on this. But again, part of the assessment of the research training course is that you give a presentation, which is going to be happening in May in our case for our program. So there's a whole day dedicated to a symposium, and it's usually a really lovely day because the whole team comes together. Everybody presents on the early stages of their research, their ideas for their dissertation. That's then graded and marked, and it becomes part of the formal assessment along with the portfolio for that research training course. But it also gives everyone a really great start on their dissertations and the dissertation journeys. And it's lovely, I think, for students to see what all their peers are working on and to see the variety of topics there. And many staff will come to the symposium. Some will be grading, some will just be there because they're interested. Some may just come because they want to see their own particular supervisee presentation. And so that's a whole day. And then, yes, another shout out to we'll have buffet and refreshments and so on. That really starts off that whole process. And Malika and Emma and I are meeting round about now to make provisional allocations for supervisors. And we're in such a fortunate position. Say, for example, you want to write a dissertation on Virginia Woolf. We have not one world Woolf expert in our English literature. We have two, and so you may actually be working with, the absolute leaders in the field, people who can put you in the right directions. I think we know where our post-colonial theory expert wants to go, Malika. We've got American specialists, we've got modernists, we've got Shakespeare specialists, we've got medical humanities specialists that Jamie was mentioning in terms of that course. So a great opportunity to work with experts in the field. It's very much, I should say, an independent piece of research, but you will have meetings through the summer, one-to-one with your personal supervisor. You can then send your supervisor a sample of a chapter. You'll get feedback on that. So there is support along the way. And then the dissertation is submitted. It's usually early September, isn't it? And then that becomes, so that's a third of your course. But quite often we find that the dissertation builds from the interest that people have developed during the course of their program. And while you can't repeat material, but you're certainly building on your knowledge. And in some cases, the topics suggest themselves from those original courses.
Yeah, I just want to add, because I think when I applied, I was so concerned that I had to know what I was doing for my dissertation. And you absolutely don't need to know what you're doing. I think most of students I've talked to when I started didn't have a clue. And that's something you obviously have a bachelor's degree in your hands, most of us do, but like you will develop and refine. And I didn't settle on an idea to like right before I needed to submit my proposal, and that's totally fine. And yeah, you're on the right track. Like you don't have to have it all figured out.
Thank you. That is such an important point. Yes, I think you're absolutely right. Some people, I remember our orientation session back in September, someone coming up to me quite concerned that they didn't have a dissertation topic. I'm like, hold on a minute, we're okay here. So that's a crucial point. Thank you, Celia. Jamie, would you like to say when about did you feel that you landed on a topic?
For my dissertation, I had a sort of general idea when this is not to completely undermine. I had a general idea kind of when I came to Glasgow to what I wanted to do with interest for potential PhD application. So my interest in a master's at Glasgow was sort of parallel to my intention to make a PhD application to particular researchers at Glasgow. But in what kind of related to what Celia and I suppose Emma was saying, but because there is such a sort of and Laura yourself, there's such a sort of range of expertise. So obviously Glasgow has kind of like relevant strengths in modernist literature and American literature. That's not to say that there isn't some research happening and scholars on Victorian literature and Romantic literature. I personally study and I'm doing my dissertation on 19th century literature, early 19th century literature, and there's plenty of staff to contact and have academic conversations with regarding that as well. So there really is, if you have plenty of modules to kind of help organically create that kind of, discover that kind of niche that you might like to write on. And because there's kind of such a broad range that's not really disparate, it's more kind of there's just a lot that you can get engaged with and kind of come to your own just decisions based off of what you've enjoyed and what you found especially interesting. I would say that Glasgow places not importance, but has a real sort of academic interest in theory, which is something that I personally was really attracted me to the university. Was its sort of like Malika has mentioned, sort of sorry, I'm reaching for the word, mission to kind of engage with stuff like post-colonial theory and queer theory, and to keep kind of stuff like 19th century literature contextualized by more kind of current conversations and current discourses and stuff like that, which I think is really important in terms of kind of like innovating English literature on kind of the yeah, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense, Jamie. It's such an important point. Thank you. And I also wanted to add, you know, we are a growing, thriving, we're already a big department, but we've just advertised 2 new posts, and one of them is a permanent lectureship in Victorian literature. So whereas I think you may find in other places sizes diminishing, shall I put it that way, we are growing as a department, and I think thriving, and I think that's a nice atmosphere to be around for staff and for students. And you mentioned a crucial point about PhDs, Jamie, and again, that process starts quite early. And so if that's something that you're interested in, again, the research training course can help with that, and it alerts you to various deadlines and what you need to do in regards for that. And some, like Jamie, are straight off the block. Others decide perhaps they'll take a year out to really refine a proposal. It just, I think, depends where you are on the journey. Would that be fair to say, Jamie? And sorry, Emma, if you want to come in.
Yes, if I could just come in on that, because I think I've sort of seen both sides of things, because I can see from the abstracts that we have some students whose ideas for the dissertation have very clearly emerged from the courses that they have been studying over the 2 semesters of the programme, and that's lovely to see. And whoever has been teaching Victorian vampires, I think, has got quite a lot to answer for, because we've got quite a few Victorian vampires coming through. So that's they've obviously come from the top courses. But to give a kind of contrasting perspective, I had a student, one of my old modernity students, who is a part-time student, has been doing courses from across the programmes, but who came with a really clear idea when he started his part-time, that started the programme part-time, that he wanted to do a project on T.S. Eliot at that time, and Eliot's letters with Emily Hale, who was the librarian at Princeton, and that seemed really clear-cut. Yet over the course of the 2 years studying part-time, doing the various courses that the programs allow, he's changed his mind about that. He now wants to do something that involves the group theatre and T.S. Eliot's work with the group theatre, and he wants to work with Dr. Andrew Radford on that, who specialises and who's been able to sort of steer him towards where there's a gap in the research. And so not just the resources at Glasgow that have been helpful to him in terms of the library and so on, but the staff resources, I think, have been really helpful in helping him to kind of shape and transform and really focus his work and his ideas for a dissertation. And as such, he's actually been shortlisted for funding from the Scottish Graduate School for a PhD. So that's someone who's had a really clear idea of what they wanted to do. It's changed a bit, but they've had support all the way from all of our staff, and have a really good chance now of getting PhD funding from that. So although David was doing his courses in modernities, we are teaching across all of the programs and modules. So that might be, you can have that similar sort of experience. So don't worry if you have no idea. If you have a clear idea, maybe it'll change into something else.
Really important point. Thank you so much, Emma. And if I can jump on that, just to give a shout out to the archives. I think some of our archives are fascinating. Suffragette manuscripts, you've got early 19th century American travel writings. I'm still being excited and surprised by what is there. And then, of course, we have that city, what's it called? Oh, yes, Edinburgh on the doorstep as well. And they've got some quite good facilities as well, and a not bad library too. So you really are on the doorstep of some great resources in that regard.
And don't forget the Beneba Slavery Center.
Thank you, Malika. Please, yes, speak to that. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have the newly constructed Beneba Slavery Center, which is interested in engaging with slavery in all its forms, whether it's historically, whether we're exploring it through literature, anthropology, sociology, food, whatever it is. And there is the Masters on Reparatory Justice. So if you're interested in doing courses that engage with the history of slavery, that engage with conversations about decolonization, that is important to note.
Thank you, Malika. Yes. Well, I think I've covered everything I can think of to cover. Any of the team like to come in with anything there?
Yeah, I would just add that it was suggested that maybe a nice question to ask would be, what did you wish you had known before you did the MLitt? So just, for example, in relation to disability services that we've talked about already, you might wish you'd known that if you register early with disability services, whether or not you have a visible disability, you might have a diagnosed condition of anxiety, for example. And if you register early with a disability service, you can then get support and flexibility with deadlines, for example, things that might exacerbate your condition. So those are things that would be helpful to know in advance. Maybe we could ask Jamie and Celia if they have, I'll close my curtain over here, if you have anything that you guys wish you'd known in advance.
So before we go ahead to Jamie and Celia, I was just, based on what you said, Emma, remember that this issue, whatever disability it is, that it's properly diagnosed first, and so you have evidence of it in order for you to register. So if that hasn't happened yet, find someone, a doctor, who can diagnose you, because that's important.
Thank you, Malika. Celia, Jamie, did you want to come in with any final? Is there something where you think, I wish they'd told me this before we actually came here? Would have been helpful. Or any message?
I don't really have what I wish I knew. I just I think it's really nice to be in an academic culture that is so I don't know, it's inspiring and nice. We were talking about these seminars, you get to network and chat with people in the department, outside the department, your fellow students, PhD students, and they're also receptive and like, yeah, you get like some really good insights as well. You can talk about like your projects with like people that might know more about it than you do. I was chatting with a PhD student and suddenly we were swapping text for each other's projects. So like, it's just a very nice and like, struggling for the word, like inspiring place to be. Very supportive as well. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Celia. Jamie, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I suppose it's similar to what Celia was saying, where I think that one of the things I've noticed the most, especially in terms of things like the seminar series, that is that engagement is really rewarded. Like, you know, your peers and the researchers who teach you generally really have a lot of time for what you think is important to say for the discussions you want to have and for your ideas. And I think that that's really encouraging, especially in terms of a postgraduate degree. And I think that kind of culture that not just the general MLitt, but just the kind of department in general, like works to cultivate is really beneficial.
Thank you so much, Jamie. And on behalf of my colleagues, I think we feel really blessed that we have amazing students. So thank you so much for that. And to everyone joining us today, of course, we very much hope that you will be some of those new amazing students joining us in September. We hope today has been helpful. If you find you have any questions after this, then do please reach out. And we'd like to say a huge thank you to Celia and Jamie for joining us, particularly when essay deadlines are looming, as we know. We're so appreciative. Thank you. And you are the experts and can tell it like it is. So we're very grateful to you, especially for joining us. And thank you for those coming from all parts of the world to be here. And thank you for your interest in Glasgow, and very best of luck on your journey. And we're excited to see where that takes you. And we hope, of course, that all roads lead to
Glasgow.
So thank you very much. And we hope to see you very soon.
All right.